Real estate agents, listen up. I'm going to show you a strategy that you can use to make your sellers an extra $128,000 when it comes to selling their home. Let's get into it. Good morning. Thank you for being here with me today. Listen, it is such a cool time in real estate because you have a once in a lifetime opportunity to really transform this business, this industry, not just for yourself, but just in general. I mean, there's so much change happening, and with the NAR settlement, which is supposedly going to go into effect in just a few short months, it's like getting a little close, if you ask me, for that to take effect in July, but that's the proposed settlement terms, and they've not been approved by the judge yet. So I think we're all just kind of waiting pins and needles to see how everything unfolds. You got kind of two camps of people. You have some people who think, nothing's really going to change, just some different paperwork and a different approach to how we do business. And then you've got this other camp that says everything's going to change, and it will likely be somewhere in the middle. And I do believe we're going to see a lot of changes. And the exciting thing for me is I think that you get to be the driver of those changes. So really exciting times. And I love what's happening here at Zoodealio. We are just bringing on new members every single day, every week. We're bringing on more and really able to help agents stand out from that sea of sameness, give them that differentiator, that unique value proposition that is exclusive to the Zoodealio platform. What I've got today, and it's really awesome, guys, because I'm going to show you how you can make your seller 6 figures more when it comes to selling their home. And pretty cool. And this is happening all across the country. It's just such a neat phenomenon, byproduct of the offerings that we have here at Zoodealio. And when you think of the totality of the marketplace of cash offers and options that you get to bring to home sellers, they are unique to you. And what I mean by that is that nobody else has access to these offers and options like you do. In addition, you get to compare these options against each other so that sellers can really make a very informed decision. First thing I want to go through is a recent survey of home sellers. I always love these surveys and love to kind of dig in to what the data is showing us, looking at the data and seeing what sellers are thinking. And is there anything like super surprising? I don't know. Let's unpack it. You tell me. Here was a survey done by Realtor.com of sellers. The first question was about their consideration phase. And so how long are they in that sort of contemplation of should I move? And what was uncovered is more than 80% of potential sellers have been considering a home sale for between 1 and 3 years. We know that people are thinking about moving, and it's on the top of their mind. And so as they're thinking about moving, I just want you to kind of remove yourself from time and space here for a moment and think about your database of people. So think about, let's say you have 500 people in your database, and let's say half of them own a home. So of those individuals, you better bet that there are people in your database that have been considering moving for a very long time. What's the messaging that you're sending to them? What's the follow-up that you're giving them? I would absolutely be doing a gut check and asking yourself, am I committed to these people? Am I following up with these people? Because here we can see that many people are thinking about selling for years before they end up selling. When asked, do you feel if you had listed sooner, you would have been able to take advantage of a hotter housing market? The overwhelming response was yes. And what we know is 79% of those surveyed feel like they were late to the party. They wish that they had listed their home sooner. They felt like they could have taken advantage of that hotter housing market had they. Not surprising, right? But you do have a bit of that FOMO, which turned into reality. So people didn't sell, and now they're looking back going, maybe we should have. But they didn't, so here they are. So they're waiting it out, and they're still in that consideration phase. This is your opportunity to get in contact with everybody that you know that owns a home and just do a little check-in. You could even reference this survey that said that, hey, what we're learning is many people are contemplating selling. Just curious, is that you? All right, here's another slide on the seller survey. So sellers are less enthusiastic about purchasing a new home, obviously due to high interest rates. We know that interest rates just went, way up over 7. So they're now at the highest that they've been this year, that they're at the highest that they've been since last October. And is there relief in sight? We don't know. Right? Anyone who says that they know, I think it's a little bit of BS. I mean, had at the beginning of the year, all of the forecasts, everyone, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, all of the analysts and the forecasts and the MBA and the NAR, they all thought that rates would be coming down. And they're not. And inflation is still coming in hot. We're still getting good jobs reports. And all of these economic indicators are pointing to potentially no rate cut this year. And should that transpire, we could be dealing with these relatively higher interest rates for quite some time longer. Also, Zillow came out just a few days ago with a revised home price appreciation forecast. And in that home price appreciation forecast, they also forecasted the number of transactions that they think will transpire in 2024. And they're very bullish on transaction count. It was just a hair over last year. So last year we ended with a roughly 4 million transactions across the US, and Zillow saying that we're going to do just a little bit more than that. So we could be stuck with these conditions for a while, right? And so what I want to do is encourage you to be doing the things that you know you need to be doing to move your business forward, because here's that valley of despair at times when it comes to selling real estate, when maybe the market's a little bit slower, and we could be looking to those things and pointing to the reasons why we're not getting what we need to be getting in our business. But the reality is if you will take the action that you know you need to be taking, you're going to still have great results. So almost 3/4 of potential sellers plan to purchase a home at the same time. That's down from last year. So less sellers are considering purchasing while they sell. Still a relatively high amount. Likely it is due to the higher interest rates. And what we also know is 79% of sellers feel stuck. They feel locked into their home due to their extremely low interest rate. Again, not surprising. Like, we know this. At one point, nearly all mortgages were below market rate. And, as the months have went on, that's changed somewhat. But what we do know is that a lot of folks feel stuck. They feel locked into their current home. Maybe that home is not meeting the demands and the needs of their family and their lifestyle any longer, but they feel like they're stuck there. And so here is a really cool opportunity for you to help folks feel unstuck, to help them kind of, maybe discover new ways to sell and buy that could actually accomplish their goals and get them into their next place. All right. Roughly 8 in 10 prospective sellers expect the mortgage on their new home to be higher than the mortgage on their existing home. A very reasonable expectation, right? Given that our mortgage rates are much higher than they were in years past. So along the same lines, today's sellers have adjusted their expectations to deal with the cooling market. Now, this is excellent news for us, right? Because see, when the market changed rapidly, you still had these sellers that had these expectations of getting multiple offers, getting over list price, the house selling in minutes. And for us, we had to go in and we had to dispel those expectations, and we had to give them a dose of reality, and oftentimes what we say they don't hear. And so what we can see now is that sellers are starting to align their expectations with the current market conditions. We're definitely in a less frenzied market, and sellers are picking up on that. So here's something that's also pretty interesting. Now, only 15% of sellers expect to get more money than their asking price. So a year ago, when this survey was given, it was about 1/3 of sellers expected to get more. And so we know expectations are realigning with market conditions, which is always a good sign. There are still several sellers out there, though, that are expecting to get more than their asking price, which, a lot of sellers do want more and want top dollar. So not totally surprising. I am encouraged, though, to see their expectations being adjusted to market conditions. All right, the the most common reason for homeowners planning to sell is to make a profit. So almost 25% of sellers that are selling want to make a profit, followed by lifestyle changes. So 24% approximately have a lifestyle change and they need to move for family. 23% need a bigger house. And then we have 22.9% want to downsize. So we still see those drivers of lifestyle being the main reasons that people are moving, in addition to they want to take some chips off the table. They have a lot of equity in their home and potentially they're looking to tap into that and maybe do something different. So pretty interesting. Sellers who do not plan to purchase a new home at the time that they're selling, though 33% said they already own another home that they can live in, 31% are going to transition from owning to renting, which is interesting. And 26% of these sellers said that they plan to move in with their family after they sell. I wonder how long that arrangement is going to last. Maybe not the longest. So if you got sellers and they're selling and they're moving in with family, be checking in on them. They may be looking to buy very soon thereafter. So those were some of the results from the recent seller survey that Realtor.com put out. Any surprises? Anything that has jumped out or surprised you? I think for me, what surprised me was to see their expectations realigning to market conditions, because even though it's been, a little over 2 years now since the market really started to turn. I think when interest rates first started going up in March of 2022, we maybe momentarily thought that things were going to kind of just raise a little and then stabilize, and instead we just saw raise after raise after raise. And, us real estate professionals kind of acclimated quickly, but to see the market catch up and to see consumer sentiment catch up is pretty encouraging. So that kind of was interesting and surprising to me. And then probably people planning on selling and renting is surprising for me. And people planning on selling and moving with family is surprising to me as well. Goes back to that, hey, we have almost a quarter of individuals who are considering selling that want to take chips off the table. Well, they're wanting to, maybe have that money and do a different living arrangement. So pretty interesting stuff. And how does this track what you're seeing in your business? Are you seeing evidence of this playing out in your business? Again, always interested in the pulse of the home seller, always trying to get inside their psyche and figure out, what it is that they're thinking, what is keeping them up at night. We know that the best marketing, the best messaging is answering the questions that people have without them having to ask you, right? So I want to go into 3 interesting ways that you can use the cash offer hook in your business, because when we talk about cash offers, I think that oftentimes it gets so pigeonholed into just this one little use case. And being a part of Zoodealio, you can really take this cash offer hook and you can use it in a multiple variety of ways. And so I want to show you other ways that you can use this cash offer hook in your business. And the first way is to differentiate yourself. See, I think this one is so key, because the reality is most people are curious about the cash offer option, but they go on to list their home on the open market first. The good news is if they list with you, you always have that cash offer option to fall back on. So you've got a different narrative, a different story that you can bring to that home seller when you're in your listing presentations. This works alongside the business that you already have. So if you're out there and you're prospecting for cash offers, obviously this is going to be a natural flow for you. You're differentiating yourself with your hook in and of itself. But let's say that you are just working within your normal business, you can still use the cash offer hook to differentiate yourself. So keep that in mind. You can use it as a hedge, and it also differentiates you. So you can see how these kind of stack upon each other. And then another thing that you can do is use the cash offers to uncover their motivation. And I'm going to share with you how one Zoodealio member, made their seller way over 6 figures more by bringing them the no out-of-pocket home improvement sale. I'm excited about this because I get to see it happen right before my eyes all across the US. And we just are starting to get so many examples of the no out-of-pocket home improvement sale paying off for that seller, them making more money. They're bringing a beautiful home to market. And it's so cool. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago. We do know that when it comes to what sellers want most from their agent, helping them sell the home within a specific time frame is usually right up there. Also, something else that they're looking for from you as their agent is helping them to find ways to fix up that home to sell it for more. So 14% of sellers said that that was important to them. Why am I going here and sharing this with you is because, see, you may not get this right from them. They may not tell you exactly what it is that they're looking for, etc. But through your marketing, you could be answering these questions for them. And so as we kind of go through these next few slides, I want you to be thinking through how you can implement this into your marketing and into your business, because it's so important that we share this strategy, especially for those individuals, those folks that have a home that needs work. If it was renovated, the home would sell for way more, and maybe they just don't have any cash out of pocket. So I'm going to share with you how this Zoodealio member made their seller $128,000 more. Let me give you a little bit of backstory on this scenario. So it was a divorce situation, and husband and wife were selling their home. It's an investment home, so it wasn't their primary residence. And here was the investment. It was dilapidated. So this home in Portland, Oregon needed a whole remodel. Definitely was not something that they were going to take on. And if they had sold it on their own, the agent said they would get like a begging $75,000. It was in complete disrepair. So what they did is the agent brought the seller a cash plus offer. And because the home needed repairs, a repair strategy was presented that the seller agreed to. And the house after is just amazing. It is just night and day difference. There was a lot of work done to this home. It was basically taken down to the studs and rebuilt back up. As you'll see here through the photos, though, the home was in disrepair. Tenant occupied, in which that doesn't always mean that it's going to be in disrepair, but what we can see here from the photos is that it just needed a lot of work. It was just really tired. It was really outdated. And after the remodel was done, it was just an adorable home, beautiful home that they could really be proud of bringing to market. You can see that it just needed everything. And then after looked so great. They even did a few, extra touches with adding a beam and, making it look extra special. Again, here was before. I mean, if you're listing this home, this is like, it's gonna be a tough sell. You're obviously gonna just attract the investors and the flippers, and likely then getting the low ball offers. After, here we are, again, like just everything new, all new windows, everything new. Here was the bathroom before. Bathroom after was just adorable. Kitchen before, I'm told that the flooring, the subfloor was so rotted out in that kitchen, all of the subfloor had to be replaced. So there was a ton going on in this property. There was no hot water, so that had stopped working and hadn't been repaired due to some plumbing concerns. So there was more than just the cosmetic issues that meets the eye. There were some structural issues as well that were handled during the repair and remodel. And then here's the kitchen after. Adorable, looked great, brand new. Everything's new, everything looks awesome, just ready to go. Really, that buyer can just bring their toothbrush, bring their suitcase, unpack, move right on in. It's just ready to go. And here's another before and after, and whoo, that was a backyard, that is for sure. Yeah, sometimes you just look at these and you think, we should just light a match. And kidding, I would never do that. But you can see how if you're this homeowner and this is the project that you're having to deal with as you're getting a divorce, you're probably not going to take this on. And what we learned is that had it not been for the cash plus with repair option, they would have just sold it as is, and that would have been that. So here was after, again, just totally different look and feel. Looks awesome. So I'm going to give you the financial breakdown and show you how this seller was able to make, after they paid for the program fee, they were able to put almost $130,000 more in their pocket. This is life-changing. This is absolutely life-changing. And if you can imagine, being in that situation, going through a divorce, it's probably a tough time, I would imagine. I don't know. I've never been divorced, but I can imagine that it's really tough, just probably mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, all the things. And through this divorce, there was a bright, shining light, and that was this repair strategy for their investment home sale. And you can see here that the house sold for $374,900, which is a value increase of almost $300,000. Now, it was a big job. $149,000 job. So for that home and all that it needed, it was a big job. And the program fee on this was $22,494. So what that means is that this seller made an additional $128,000 by choosing this strategy. So I feel like it's life-changing for them. It was probably, at the very least, an amazing surprise. They were probably really darn happy with their agent and happy that they chose this strategy and took a bet on the house and invested into the strategy. So let me just stop for a moment and share with you. You got to think that the program fee is really the additional cost that they incurred to go this route, because the agent commissions and resale closing costs, the seller is going to pay those anyway, right? Like, likely. Now, it might be a little bit less or a little bit more depending on how they negotiate. But the reality is the above and extra cost for this strategy is the program fee. And if you think about what a traditional home flipper would do or investor would do, is they would go in and they would offer that seller the $75,000 for what that property was worth, which is pretty much, I'm guessing, probably just the cost of the land, maybe a little bit for the structure, but it was so dilapidated it had to be completely torn down to the studs. So in this scenario, if they had sold to that investor and that investor went in and put the money into the home and sold the house on the open market for $375,000, would the investor have returned those additional proceeds back to the seller? No. Never. That is unheard of. That is what they're in business to do, is buy low, fix up, sell high, make the spread. I mean, it's all about the spread. And so there's absolutely no way in a traditional investor sale that investor would credit that seller back any money. And in this scenario, the seller is going to get back $128,000 because they chose this strategy. It is absolutely so cool. And I wanted to share it with you. This one really stuck out to me. It was a great example of a home being brought to market that you could really be proud of. Now, the seller can be proud that they were, able to invest in this strategy and reap the rewards of it. The agent can be proud that they had a different tool in their toolbox that they were able to talk with the seller about that turned out to be the best, most viable option. So really pumped about this. I want you to think through the homes that you come into contact with, the people that own homes in your database. Maybe it's not their primary residence, maybe it's an investment home, but think through this strategy and how it could help them, and talk about it with your sellers, because you never know who can take advantage of this offer, take advantage of this option, and make that home just beautiful for the open market. And you also have these, all real estate is hyper local. I get that. But what we're finding is there's these pockets where, you have homes that if they're as is, they're selling for such a steep discount over the homes that are updated and renovated. And I podcasted last week with Glenda Baker, and we talked a little bit about this. And she had mentioned that what she's seeing too in her market is if that home is not just beautiful, a shiny new penny, as she called it, if it's not just snappy, then what's happening is buyers are taking a pass. They're wanting these homes and they're wanting them move-in ready. I mean, can we blame them with interest rates as high as they are, considering prices are still high? Prices have not depressed. And because of that, we have buyers that are getting in at the upper end of both the interest rates in relatively recent years, and also home prices. You know, Realtor.com came out with a release today that said 9 million baby boomers are going to be selling their homes over the next few years. And if you think about the homes that a lot of baby boomers own, they're in dire need of some updating, renovation, repair. We have neighborhoods here in the Phoenix market that are retirement communities that are completely restructuring the retirement guidelines. So in particular, we have 55 plus communities that are lowering the barrier of entry to live in the neighborhood if they don't have kids to 40. And so you see a lot of interesting things happening in these retirement communities. No doubt, something that we're also going to see happening will be repairing and renovating, remodeling these homes that are probably tired and getting old. Do not get discouraged. A lot of things are changing. This is your opportunity to do something really cool, really big. Thank you all so much. One thing I want to leave us with today, because it just really spoke to me, you know, when we talk about what we want to accomplish and all of the things, what it really comes down to is the habits that you instill in your business. And I was recently asked a question, if I could go back and start real estate all over again, like what would I do? And my answer was I would prospect like my life depended on it. I would prospect for 4, 6, 8 hours a day, as many as I could. And I would do that every single day and maybe give myself 1 or 2 days off. I would just go crazy prospecting. And what it really uncovered to me is that what I would do is I would just set up a habit of doing the thing that got me the result. So if prospecting was the thing, I would set up a habit of making that happen. And so this quote really spoke to me. People do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. So what are the habits that you have in your business that are serving you? What are the habits that you have in your business that may not be serving you? And I would just invite you to think about that as you go through the week and think about what you can do to tweak those habits so that they serve you and serve your business. Hey, I appreciate everyone being on here today. Thank you so much. You guys are just such a joy. It is why we do what we do. We appreciate you guys. If you have any more questions, always feel free to hit us up, and I will be back with you in just a couple weeks. So have a wonderful week.